Hello and welcome to another episode on Maroš Bonsai channel. Today I'm going to work on Oriental Hornbeam collected from the wild in 2024 with Andrea Zokic and Marko Kelava in Croatia. Since I'm going to work on this tree for the first time, it's really rough Yamadori collected from the wild with a few cuts. Nothing was done to the tree for a whole season. So initially I will show you how I'm thinking about what challenges this type of material is posing to the artist and how I'm dealing with that. I'm not saying that it's the best way how to deal with such material, but it's the way how I'm doing that. So I'm going to guide you through the process, and along the way maybe we learn a thing or two, and then I will just would like to thank to all of you, all the newcomers who came and subscribed to my channel in recent weeks, quite a lot of folks. I'm very grateful for all the support, for all the likes and comments and encouraging. I would like to use this opportunity, like I'm sitting here, I would like to tell you a little bit about current situation. We are now in the middle of February. Currently in my area we are experiencing very cold weather with -5, -7 degrees Celsius during the night, slightly higher temperatures during the day, but still very cold. It looks like our local Pauksatoni Phill saw his shade, and trees are not showing any signs of waking up.
I definitely see a shadow. Sorry, folks. 6 more weeks of winter.
I have personally performed first repotting because I had a few cuttings of Fuji cherry, Kojo-No-Mai in my garage. They were stored there in very favorable conditions, +10, and they start to push the growth, so I need to do first repotting. So first repotting is done. Way too many repottings is waiting for me for this season, so I'm a little bit anxious about it. I think many of you is experiencing the same, that we are dealing with very cold weather. We are waiting until the spring is going to come, until it's finally arriving, and then we are overwhelmed with work, with everything what we planned during the winter months, all the things which are possible to be performed only in the springtime. So this is going to be very challenging time ahead, but still I think all of us are curious and all of us want to see the first flowers on a tree. All of us want to go and to dig into the roots of our trees and start to work and do important stuff. We all feel that it's coming. It's only few more days or weeks, and it will be here. I'm really pumped. I really want to start the spring season. I have a lot of projects, 3 projects, and hopefully will have enough of stuff to share with you on the channel. I would like to thank to Andrew from Czech Republic. He was writing me a few words regarding my channel and support. I'm really thankful. And he asked me if I can talk a little bit about some big mistake I did, which I did when I was starting with the trees. I would like to use this opportunity to talk about 2 things. First thing is that When I started in 2009, 2010, and I brought in 2 seasons, I brought home like 40 trees, and many times I was sitting next to the tree like this, and I was thinking what to do. I was struggling, and I didn't know what to do. Of course I was studying, I was watching the videos, I was reading a lot of blogs, I was trying to accumulate as much information about how to do stuff. I was reading a lot of books. So theoretically, I knew what to do. But practically, when I was sitting at the front of my tree, sometimes I wasn't sure. A similar situation like with this tree now. I don't know exactly what I'm going to do, but I'm going to use Walter Pall beginner method, which he shared with us in Croatia. You may have seen the video. You can check it on the link here, with where he interestingly shares and guides the Marco how to work on his raft and what to do in case you are struggling, you don't know what to do. So this is the similar situation. I don't know what to do with this tree, so I'm going to play a little bit around. I'm going to maybe change the position with the help of planks and play how the tree will look like, analyze it a little bit. I will share my thoughts with you, and we will see what will happen. It's not going to be finished today. You don't need to finish it. And as I told you many times before, it's also good if you work a little bit on a tree, you let it stay on a shelf or on monkey post somewhere on a visible place in your garden, and you are looking at a tree and you are thinking about what you initially done to the tree, what next steps could be performed, and so on and so on. And you see it in a different light, you see it in a different conditions, in different weather. Also your mind is in a different mood. Maybe you will see the things differently after you done initial steps. The advice number one is it's better to do something than do nothing. The Walter Pall told me this many years ago, and I think this is for any beginner, it's good advice. Start to do something. If you don't know what to do, clean the surface. Still don't know what to do all the weeding, clean some dry parts on a tree, do this, do that, and suddenly you will see what will be next move and next move and next move, and you will move along the way and you will develop your tree. It will be much better. This is advice number one. Maybe the second thing which I want to say, when I'm going to work on this tree, most probably I will need to change the position of a tree, because tree is leaning too much into this direction, and most probably the tree needs to be lifted more, and so this part is not going so much away from the trunk. We will see if it will stay or not. But anyway, it's going too much into this direction, if you can see it on camera now, and it's falling too much. Unfortunately, when I was planting this tree exactly 1 year ago, the nebari and the roots which were there from original collection didn't allow me to put it into better optimal position. So what I need to do with this tree, and you will face the similar situation with maybe some of your next trees, that you will need to work intensively on the roots of a tree. This is really tough work, and most probably you will not succeed and do every step which is necessary in one go. You need to change it into several steps. So let's talk about adjusting the roots and how to do that on collected tree or on a bonsai tree in general. The thing is that your tree usually needs more work than you can imagine, and obviously you have to split this work into several seasons. I'm personally against repotting the trees too often. I'm absolutely against repotting the tree every season. It doesn't make sense. I'm talking about this size of trees. I cannot talk about smaller trees. Maybe there it makes sense. But for trees like this, the maximum is like every 2 years. So in case you need to do a lot of adjustment to the root structure, you need to split it into maybe 3 repottings, which means obviously 6 years of work. So it takes a lot of time to do the proper work. The second thing is the amount of work which you are going to perform on a tree. You can, when I collected this tree and brought it with myself, I did, obviously I had to cut really big roots which were here, but it's natural that you are afraid to do really drastic cuts and remove a lot of root structure. You are afraid if a tree will survive or not. Obviously you can see this is completely the new growth in the last 12 months. So this tree did it. It was performing really well. You can see it on the footage from last year, how it looked like and what the new growth emerged. But it's natural to be afraid. If I'm going to push the tree too far, I'm going to remove too much of the roots, tree may die. So you need to find a balance, and honestly, it's up to you to decide how much of the roots you are going to remove, how brave you are to work on it. You need to find your way how to do this, how to deal with this dilemma. I think personally, with collected Yamadori trees, there are 2 poles, opposite poles on a spectrum between how much of a root work you are going to do in a season 1 of your tree. And you can either do nothing. You collect the tree, you pack it into some kind of plastic, you bring it home, you maybe just take down the plastic and you just put it into the wooden box or somewhere. I was doing this 15 years ago when I was starting. I was so afraid to do any kind of root work that I barely touched. I kept a lot of original soil. I wasn't really doing examination of roots, what it's there and what it's not. And I wanted to guarantee that the tree will survive. I don't know if it was good approach or not. That's what I was doing. That's why I'm telling you, I'm sharing this experience with you. And the thing is, if you are watching any content now, and I recently saw the video of a fantastic guy. I follow him on here on YouTube. It's from Japan. He's living somewhere in the mountains and he's collecting usually rather small trees. I wouldn't like to butcher his name, but I think it's Yamasibon Kiva. You most probably know him. And I saw the video when he collected, I think, mountain maple, Acer palmatum from the wild. And when I was watching the video, how he was dealing with the roots of his tree and how much he kept removing, I was scared. And I was like, okay, this maybe seems to me too much. Thing is that you have to also distinguish between the different tree species. And there are species which can handle really heavy root work. And maples are definitely this species. You can, with maples, you really can do a lot without really being afraid. With different species, you need to be more careful, you need to be patient. With hawthorns, with conifers, I'm not even touching this topic. You need to be really careful with spruces and so on and so on. So it's species dependent. So in case you have collected Acer campestre, it's not so challenging. You can do a lot of root work. I will make a video on Acer I collected last year, so you will see. I'm going to do some kind of root adjustment on that tree as well. But different trees require different approach, but still my advice for somebody who is starting now, be a little bit more brave than I was when I was starting. Still be cautious, think twice before doing any kind of major cut, and think how much of fiber roots you are keeping, and if you have possibility, keep the fiber roots and just work on few big ones and really try to remove the roots which are going down from the tree, which will make you a big problem if you are going to pot it right away into bonsai pot like this hornbeam, which was collected and it went directly into this cheap ceramic pot. Or if you are going to use any kind of deeper plastic pot, but still in the next repotting you need to go under the tree, you need to cut really these big chunks of old root structure, which will make you a problem to transfer your Yamadori tree from quite luxurious big wooden or plastic pot to some kind of bonsai pot in next repotting or third repotting. If you do this heavy work under the tree on these big parts of thick roots in season 1, when the tree has basically no value, I think it's a little bit better to go a little bit harder at the first repotting, at the first, when you bring your tree from wild, you clean it, no pressure washer or something. I'm not washing away the substrate, but still I'm usually leaving the tree for 24 hours in a big bath tube with rainwater, and the old soil is loosened up, so it's much easier to remove big chunks of old soil. And usually, especially with the hornbeams like this, you have big rocks embedded in the root structure, so you take away big rocks from the root structure. So it's good to do that in season 1, and then you just wait and pray if your tree will survive. And if it survives, then you know you did really well, and you know that you don't have to go into this heart of the root ball and really do so risky stuff in the next repotting. So do heavy lifting early on and you save a lot of troubles. So maybe these are 2 initial thoughts about what I was doing differently when I was starting, and maybe what I would advise to anyone who is starting with collected trees now. So now I was looking at a tree, and I think it's going very much to this direction. So I'm going to play with the positioning. I have prepared a few pieces of wood. So I think it's already better if I do it like this, but what I think it will be better to move it more in that direction and lift it more like this. We try it with another piece of wood. So if it will be like this, something like this, not final. Now you can see that this kind of angle I wasn't able to achieve when I was spotting the tree from the wild last spring. So it will take me few more repottings to get to this point, but I have a time. So I will do it like this. I think it's okay in this position. What I don't want to tree to slide down from the table. So I have a tape here and I'm going to fix it. The thing is, the conventional approach is to search for a front. This is step number 1 in conventional approach to bonsai, and start from there. Of course, the front is important. In one moment, it will be in some kind of final pot. You need to have a front, how the tree will be potted in the pot and possibly exhibited on exhibition. The thing is, I would like to have a tree which will look good from all sides. Of course, it will have maybe 2, maybe 3 better sides, and some of the views from some points will not be so good. But still, I would like to have it like a sculpture, 3D sculpture, which will look good from all sides. This is my intention. The second thing, in conventional approach to bonsai, you are looking for single trunk line, and you are trying to reduce the trunk of a tree into single trunk line with tapering trunk. I think it's not a good way and good approach with collected Yamadori material. I'm going to keep this trunk, I'm going to keep this trunk. The question is how far I will go and what I will leave. Also, I'm going to keep both of those trunks, even if this is the most problematic part of a tree. This is one problem which we will have here. This is the second problem. This is issue which we have to address, and then these 2 trunks. I'm going from bottom up. I'm going to keep this branch. I don't like this straight section of a trunk. I was hoping for more buds here. Unfortunately, I didn't get any buds here, so it's a little bit boring part of really straight trunk. It's design challenge in one aspect. I will talk about this later. So this is obvious problem. One thing is to completely remove this part, to get rid of this part. The second possibility is to get rid of this part. This is also possible. There is a possibility to remove this part and work only with this, even if this is dry. Or it's possible to remove this part and work only as this. And of course the question is where to end the apex part of a trunk and where to start develop new branches which will continue in some kind of upward growth and directions. So I'm going to address all these issues. My current thinking is that I'm going to keep it as it is. Only thing I'm not sure is this. I'm really not sure. What initially I thought I'm going to remove it like this. I'm going to remove it like this. Like you see it on the camera. This will not be here. As I was preparing for work on this tree today, I'm not sure. Of course, what kind of problem I have here? The problem which is here is that this is part of a dead branch. I'm going to cut it away, carve it a little bit, and I will see how it will look like. This is that branch. I'm going to remove it and see how it will change the proportions. I'm going to cut this part. It's also dry. This is most probably completely dry, so I'm going to cut away this one. And then I will look again on a tree, think what I will do, and most probably I can still decide to remove big parts of this apex structure when I will move. This is short analysis of a tree. Coming back to this bottom section, I was thinking about shortening this to this branch. It's still doable. You can see that this tree grew a new branch here, which is 5 millimeter thick already. It can generate in one season 1 centimeter thickness, no problem. Of course, you're never going to get so fast growth and thickening as in the apex section of a crown, so be careful. Don't expect that it will be thick so much, but still it's possible to gain the diameter of, let's say, 1 centimeter in another 1-2 seasons, so I still can work with that. You can see it's still a little bit possible to bend, so maybe I can play a little bit with the movement. It's also a possibility, not so easy. Also, I can cut a little bit here and bend it. But I was thinking, I have a lot of fresh growth here. I was thinking that I may go for maybe thread grafting, to thread graft one branch here, and as a backup to thread graft one branch here. If it survives, it survives. If it not, then still I can reduce it and go back to this backup branch. One more thing, coming back to the Andre question, Andrew from Czech Republic, and the biggest mistake I did as a beginner. I would like to tell one more thing. When I was starting and I had 20 trees like this on a shelf, and when you do some kind of initial work in season 1, season 2, you take heavy tools, you do few cuts and one piece of wire and it's done. But on a place where you cut the branch in a season 1, you will have 2 branches in season 2. In 5 years, on the same place, you will have 20, 30 branches. And multiplied it by whole structure of a tree, you will have hundreds of more branches to deal with. You will have a lot of branches which will create the shade for all inner growth in the tree. And the work which you will need to put into work on deciduous tree after season 3, 4, 5 is tremendous. You cannot imagine, if you don't know what to do, if you are just starting, believe me, the crucial work on design of a tree, initial creating the skeleton of your future bonsai, you can do it if you are skilled in 2 hours, 1-2 hours, a little bit of carving, some kind of work with a saw, and that's it, and it's done. But more and more refinement you will generate, the more work you will have to remove the excess foliage, to remove the excess branches, to prevent inner parts of a tree from drying, from dying back in the summer, because everything which is inside the crown will be shaded by the canopy and you will have a big problem. So be careful. In case you are going to have a collecting spree this season, I wish you luck. I wish you will going to find really good material, but be careful, because in the first season it will be piece of cake to do some kind of work. If you have your eye and you have a skill, you do the initial work, in 1 hour per tree, 2 hours per tree, and it's done. But in season 5, with the 20 trees, you will have a lot more work and you will have big problem to find the time in case you have normal life. You want to keep your trees in good conditions. Believe me, I was there, I did that, and sometimes in the summer, let's say in June, you look on your trees and you don't know what to do first. You need to work so much on the trees that you will not lose the work which you put into the tree in first initial 2, 3, 4 seasons, that you have a lot of work. So that's why, for example, I was listening to Ryan Neal on one podcast when he was talking about this, and he was comparing the work on conifers to work on deciduous trees. This is something you need to think of, because it's really challenging to keep the pace with your deciduous Yamadori collection. Let's start. I'm going to remove all the stuff I don't want. So basically, I would say I don't want any growth below this junction. So maybe you can ask why I left this growth. And this is a good question. And obviously, I could have removed some of that, but it's also a good example how to work with a tree if you want to be more on a careful side and you don't want to jeopardize the life of a tree. So basically, what I recommend is don't remove a lot of stuff from your tree, because you may end up needing the energy which all these branches created, and the sugars which were created in the branches were transferred into the roots of a tree and most probably help it to survive. So that's why I'm not really removing a lot of stuff. This looks like dry. This dry. So this is alive. As I told you, this looks like dry branch. This is dry up to here. This is dry part of apex. As I told you, this looks like dry branch, so I'm going to get rid of it. Anyway, not real taper here, nothing grows on it. Most probably it's dry, so I get rid of this one. Yeah, it's dry. I'm going to remove also this stump. This is also dry branch. Anyway, it's growing from this part, and in case I'm going to keep part of this trunk and part of this trunk, I don't want this place to have occupied with too much of growth. This growing from the same place, it's part of original structure and original branch which split it here. So far I'm keeping this. I don't know if it will stay or not for the future, but so far I'm going to keep this one, this part here. So you can see this is how this part dried out between this branch and this branch. So I need to cut this part off and carve it and seal it and lower this apex. Choose one of those two branches which I will keep. I will go back to that, and also shorter the one which will remain, and grow new section of apex branches from here. So this is what grew in last year. I'm going to shorten it here and keep only these 2 centimeter section and grew next section from here. I have bud here and here, so all of those buds could be used. It will be also shortened, and new section of the crown will be created here. So this is natural ura, which is here, which looks cool to me. Also, as you can see, I removed this branch, so maybe I can drill and connect these uros together. So also this is the natural cut here. So it looks like this from the close up. Also the dead branch here also looks cool to me on naturalistic tree. So I'm going to work on this part now. I was thinking initially to use those 2 branches and thread graft it, but I don't like this section. And I still have this, which for me it grows in really good direction away from the trunk. It could help me to create new branch if everything goes bad. So what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to cut this branch back, and I'm going to hope for a new buds here. I think something can grow here, and in case it will not grow, I will remove it. So I'm going to remove also this one, and this one. So this is what's going to stay here. I need to be careful not to do anything to this. So the thing is, what I can do with branch like this, it's now already 40 centimeters long. So 1 season of growth at the bottom of a tree, 40 centimeters of growth. You see how it naturally bended, and now it's bending up because it wants to go to the sun and wants to reach the maximum amount of sunlight. I will leave it like this. Maybe I can even more encourage it with just 1 tiny piece of wire. In case I will leave this branch grow unrestricted for another season, it easily can gain another few millimeters, 5 millimeters, maybe up to 10 millimeters. So this is how you can manipulate your branches and to play with the thickness. On places like this, where I have 3 branches from 1 spot, I keep only 1. You don't need that. This one also grows very awkwardly. Of course, I can wire it, I can use it somehow, but I don't like it. So from those 2, the traditional thinking is that you have to have the branch and you have to wire it into position like this. This one doesn't have any growth on it, so I choose this one, and I'm going to remove this one. I'm going to shorten this, shorten this, shorten, keep this one. As I said, I'm going to shorten this apex section and grow new from this leader. This is bunch of tiny branches growing from the same spot. So I'm going to remove most of them. There are 3 of them now, but they are very close to dry part of a tree. This is dry. This tiny piece here is also dry, and back of this apex section is also dry. So I would like to have some of those branches here. They are really tiny, easy to wire. Even next year they will be very easy to wire. So I can play with them and move them here, Maybe if this one survives, I would wire it somewhere here into this section. Maybe I will use this one. This is for the future. I keep this one for this moment, this tiny branch. Most probably I will not need it, and it's growing from really inside of the curve and a little bit problematic. The thing is that I have here this cut after dry branch which was growing here, so I keep it. I shorten this one here. We will work with some of those tiny branches. So this is more or less it on this side. So the second sub trunk, I clean just a little bit of dry stuff here. Again, multiple branches from almost same spot. I can remove some of them. This seems like a dry part. Shorten this one. Remove even more because it's bulgy here. I don't like this straight piece here, which is growing almost from same place like this one. It's further, and I can still wire it somewhere. I need it really. Do I really need it? I don't know. I will keep it. I will wire it into this position. From those bottom branches, I don't want this one, and I don't want this one growing backwards. You see, this is typical shrub growth of Orientalis. It's growing in all directions. From those two branches, again, I want to keep only one. So in case I'm not sure about future height of this tree, I don't know. Maybe it will be shorter. It's still one of the good possibilities is to remove this completely, this section, and work only with this one. It's still possible. I may look at the video and see how it looks like. The cut will be under here, so not really much visible. Some new growth will grow here, and I can work from here. It's one of really good possibilities if I want to go for much smaller tree. Of course, this secondary crown will create a lot of design challenges because the tree will be very wide, this crown will be too far here, this will be here. So it's a tricky. In case I want to go and play it safe, I would remove it and shorter maybe this one and work with this. I still think, since this is natural dry part of a tree which happened in nature, this looks already cool to me at the upper section. In case I want to avoid any other cut at that section, I will leave it. It's crazy bend here. It's movement in 3D, so it's going from here, 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 still a lot of movement, going a little bit back here. I know it looks very crazy to most of the people, but I'm not convinced I'm going to get rid of it. Yeah? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to choose only one of those branches, or shorter both. I'm going to cut this stub away and we will see. This is very much without taper. One diameter basically. up to here. So the question is if I can shorten it. Maybe I can or not. Doesn't look that bad. This is bulgy because here was a small branch and there is a healing wound below here. So this is a little bulge, but still look pretty cool to me. So in case I wire away this one, it doesn't need to be really detailed. I just want to move this branchlet away from here somewhere into this position and give it some initial movement. Because when it will mature, you will not be able to move it like this one. In case it will reach this diameter, you are not going to wire it anywhere. Also, we need this one somewhere here because it's going over that wound there. I don't want that. I want it here. So what we will do, we will wire those two both. So this will go here. Now it's much better. It's holding. I exaggerate the movement. And this one also, I want to go away from the central axis of the tree. Yes, now it's a little bit better. Few wires, those are okay. This is okay. This will grow like this into this direction. So it will be wired later. It's not ideal time for doing really heavy wiring, so I'm not going to wire everything now because it's still very cold outside and I don't have too much place for trees which are heavily worked. So in case something will happen to those two branches, it will be no big deal. I'm keeping those which are a little bit lower, longer, so they can gain more energy and thicken more, and those which are at the top, I'm cutting back harder because I don't want them to be so thick. I'm going to remove also this part, but I don't want to die back, so I will wait until spring, until this is very strong, and then I will cut it away, and most probably also all this. I'm thinking maybe this section could be more upright. Thick wire here. A little bit of plain background. So this is basically it. Initial styling, as I said, in more or less 2 hours. Of course, you still can do a little bit more, or if you are scared, a little bit less, but this is it for now on this tree. It looks like this. There is still a lot of questions. As I said at the beginning, I don't know. I don't know if this will stay like this. It looks way too awkward. This is open question. I don't know. I'm not sure still about this trunk. We will see how it will develop. It may stay, it may go, it may dry out completely. There is also opportunity to remove it and somehow connect the future scar with existing hole here and connect it somehow and create some kind of design feature from these urals here. So this is possibility. Maybe even more pull this trunk. Now as I pulled it, I may consider to pull it even a little bit more up. And as I said at the beginning, removing this section completely and regrow everything from this one. Or also there is a possibility to remove it entirely, but I like this branch. I think it will create nice feature here, and everything else will be bare. Everything will be visible here, and the crown will be like this here. This tree, this Yamadori Carpinus orientalis, today started new phase of its development. Of course, you can do a lot of stuff with these tiny branches, but there is a lot of time to do that. Now the tree will wait for spring, another hopefully 3, not more than 5 weeks, and we will see what's ahead of us in this season. So basically this is it for today from our Bonsai channel. Thank you very much for watching. In case you have any questions, leave me any comment in below the video, and see you next time.